Hello, welcome again to Invictus Porsche. We have with us a Porsche 911 997 Carrera 4S PDK, and let's get right into it. These 997 Gen 2 PDK or manuals are super sought after, and the reason is simply because these were the last of the Porsches that left the Porsche factory before they became part of the VAR group and before Porsches in general became wider and longer. That's reason number one. Reason number two, they're modern classics now. And that's because there are some aspects of these cars, such as the 6-piston monoblock braking system and the hydraulic steering and a couple of other elements of it that make it quite outdated, in the sense that modern technology has moved on significantly over the past 10 years, and they don't unfortunately make cars so outdated and so out of touch from the modern technology as these anymore. In some way, if you're a Porsche fanatic, this is exactly what you would be looking to put your money at, because the value of these will just carry on going up. Reason number three, they are loads of fun to drive. That's because it's not as wide as a 991 or as long as a 991, and it being that nimble, flexible, tiny car in some sense makes it absolutely awesome to drive around corners, and we will illustrate now. Well, how does it drive? I hope the smile tells you everything you need to know about how it drives. It drives absolutely phenomenal. And at the minute, I haven't got any of the buttons pressed. I mean, such as the PASM or the Sports or the PSC button, the Porsche Sports Exhaust System button, just standard. And it sounds fantastic. And one of the reasons the Porsche sounds so good is that the sound proofing insulation is a bit toned down. I mean, it's not done excessively to give you a grand touring or a comfortable ride. They want you to feel the car, they want you to feel the road, they want you to hear the engine sound, and you don't get that with many cars out there. In terms of performance, that's where a Porsche 911 goes into a league of its own. This produces 385 brake horsepower, 420 Newton meters of torque. The 0 to 62 is possible in 4.7 seconds, and the total combined curb weight is 1,555 kilograms. And lastly, from an MPG perspective, you can get anywhere between sort of 28 to 42 MPG. There are not many cars with a 3.8 litre engine that can say that they provide absolutely phenomenal performance figures, amazing handling, but on top of that, absolutely awesome MPG, because Porsches do consider the environment in some ways. Despite the fact that it's a combustion engine car, environment is considered by producing vehicles that are extremely economical. You're probably wondering, what is this 911? Especially looking at the rear ducktail, but we'll get to the rear ducktail in a minute. But this is a 911 that was trying to emulate the Porsche Sports Classic. The Porsche Sports Classic was launched in 2009 with a limited run of 250, with a price of £137,000. It did come with loads of options within the £137,000 price tag, but that was a considerable, huge increase from what you paid Porsche, considering what it would cost to get a 997 turbo. So this obviously went through a slight conversion, not through the previous owner, but the owner before that, with RPM Technic through their CSR program, by having you know, a sports design front bumper, by having the alloys in this beautiful satin black, and also having the rear ducktail. Initially, the previous owner bought the exact rear ducktail from Porsche for the Sports Classic, although it didn't exactly fit in here. So the CSR program suggested putting the carbon ducktail, and I think at some point after spending approximately £10,000 on the wrap to basically replicate exactly what the sports classic color was, I think he had enough, because he thought, you know what, I might as well go and spend £250,000 and buy the real thing. But for £46,000, you could actually own this beautiful 997.2 with a touch of sports classic via the redesigned front bumper, the rear ducktail, and an absolutely phenomenal spec on par with the Porsche Sports Classic. And how many people can say that this is as unique as a Porsche 911 that you can get in the UK market right now? Not only do they have more horsepower, and they are more economical and just better handling, and in some ways I would say better sounding, the engine in this, the 3.8 litre engine, also kind of irons out all the IMS issues or the bore scoring issues or the rear main seal issues. I mean, it was really getting on some people's nerves on the 997 Gen 1s, but the direct fuel injected engines have really brought these cars right up here. And Porsches have actually continued using the direct fuel injected engines all the way into the 991. So there is something truly amazing about these engines, and the 997.2 having these engines have meant that this is actually the last of the 911s that are super reliable. Before I bore you anymore, the fifth reason is the interior has got a touch of added quality to it. It's been improved in some ways. It's got the sports steering wheel, which is also in the later Porsche 911s, such as the 991 and the 981s. It's got the dual clutch gearbox, the PDK, Doppelkupplungsgetriebe, meaning, you know, it is an absolutely, you know, a world apart, a massive improvement over the Tiptronic in terms of how it drives, and even from a driver focus point of view, I mean, the way it shifts gears is phenomenal. Obviously the spec on the car is out of this world, which we'll talk about later, but it's got the upgraded PCM system, which is touchscreen and also allows mobile Bluetooth connectivity, and lastly, not to forget, all around the suspension is upgraded as well. What I love about the Porsche 911 is the practicality. It's got 4 seats, loads of storage space in the front boot, and the rear seats are quite impressive, because if you're on a night out or if you've got kids that, you know, you want to go out with, you can actually get somebody like me, which is 5'9", in at the back quite comfortably for probably about 50 minutes or so. I know people might say, now, how is that possible? But if you do lean to one side quite comfortably, not only do you have a lovely view, you know, looking at the front of the road, but also, you know, if you have your sort of feet to either side, you can actually sit in quite comfortably at 50 minutes, and I've put that to the test, and I don't mind putting in a GoPro camera to prove that. But also the rear backrest fold down quite well, and you get a nice flat surface here, which allows you to put your grocery bags or any other furniture. So it is quite impressive from a practicality point of view what a Porsche 911 can do, as opposed to a Cayman or a Boxster. Currently, as it stands, there isn't another 997 Gen 2 as well spec'd as this in the UK. This literally has it all, everything. I mean, you name it, from the alloys, from the aero front bumper, the carbon ducktail, the PSC, the PASM, the Sport Plus Sports, the Chrono package. It's got every bit of spec that you need in a Porsche 911, and I don't think there are many like it. Please don't forget to comment, like and subscribe. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this review. If you've got any questions about this,